Hi, this is Steph with Belladonna Dyes, and today's project is a retro-inspired spiral. This one's coming straight out of my memories from my grandmother's kitchen. First, you want to decide where you want the center of your spiral to be, give it a little pinch, and then for this one I'm using the microwave splatter guard that I got from Amazon, and I do have a link for it down below in the description box, along with everything else that I use for tie-dye, so go ahead and check that out. Then I clamp my hemostat down on the first click. It does not need to be overly tight. You don't want to tear a hole in the center of your shirt. And then I give the hemostat maybe 2-3 twists, and then I make the spiral with my opposite hand. So as you notice, I'm using the hemostat to hold the shirt in place, but my opposite hand is actually creating the pleats. And then I go as far as I can until I just can't go any farther with a splatter guard, and I unclick the hemostat and I hold down the center and gently wiggle it out. And then I'm going to secure it by using my favorite rubber bands. And you guys, these really are the best rubber bands for making spirals because they're not too tight and so they don't make your spiral fold up like a taco. Next, I like to tighten up my spiral. So I like to pull on the loose tails and tuck them into the nearest rubber band. This creates that nice tight spiral, so that way if you have to pick it up and move it or flip it over, it's not going to fall apart on you. And I will go around and around, tightening up the spiral until it just doesn't move anymore. I want to say thank you to all of you that watched my last tutorial and gave me well wishes. I want to just give you a report that I am feeling a lot better. My energy is coming back. I'm still feeling really winded, but my throat isn't hurting as much. So I think I'm going to be back at it real soon. I have a lot of fun projects coming up, so stay tuned. That's a nice tight spiral and I'm pretty happy with it. So the next step is to build yourself some type of an ice barrier, and for this one I'm using the silicone cake molds. And if you don't have the silicone cake molds, you could also use foil or cardboard, whatever you have. And then I like to mark out my pattern. Now, marking out the pattern with a washable marker is not a necessary step, but I find that it helps me stay on track. Now it's time for the fun part. We get to add the dye. And for this shirt, originally it was going to be a single color ice dye for the playlist of Dharma's dye swatches. But as I was working with the Burgundy, it's one of those dyes that's one of those dense powders that doesn't like to sprinkle very well. I started dropping it in places that I didn't want it, like in the white pieces. So I decided to shift gears and just turn this into a complete shirt. And Angelina, she's the girl that's doing my microblading here in Portland, Oregon, and she's absolutely amazing, you guys. But she's all about retro. So like the amber glass and the avocado green and the burnt orange, her studio is beautiful, but it's like stepping back in time. I love it. It reminds me of my grandmother's kitchen, hence the retro-inspired spiral. So I decided I would make this for her. But if you guys are interested in getting some microblading and you're in the Pacific Northwest, go check out her Instagram. It's Tattooed Lady Tattoos, and she does such amazing cosmetic tattooing. Again, her name is Angelina at Tattooed Lady Tattoos. So do you guys see those like little bits of burgundy in the white? It really is not that big of a deal, but this is where my perfectionism can just be such a detriment because, well, maybe it's not a detriment because this shirt ends up being like one of those happy accidents because it turns out amazing. But you know, the whole time I'm adding dye, I'm beating myself up because that's just what artists do, I guess. I want to tell you, don't do that to yourself. You know, if you drop a little bit of dye in your white area and you're not happy with it, just add more dye in a darker color. So that's why I decided to go over top of that biggest splotch with the Raven Black. Because out of all the colors, Raven Black's going to cover it. And it's been my experience with Raven Black. It also has a tendency to split down towards the red. So it's going to work out. Once I have the dye on my project the way that I like it, I give it a quick little sprinkle of soda ash for good measure, and then I add my ice. And since I live in Oregon where it's still only 65 degrees, I like to batch my project for 48 hours. I came back and I checked it after the first layer of ice melted, and there was still quite a bit of undissolved dye. Even though it had good saturation, I decided to just hit it again with a second layer of ice. So now it's been the 48 hours and it's time for the rinse out. So you want to start by using cold water to rinse away any soda ash that might still be reacting within the fabric, and then gradually increase your water up to hot and rinse until the water runs pretty much clear. From here, I take it to the washing machine and I do however many hot water cycles it takes using Kirillon. It's usually about 2 hot water cycles. I scoop up the hot water in, the washing machine cycle, and I look at it, and once it's clear, I know that I'm ready for my final hot water cycle using Millsoft. And Millsoft is a professional fabric softener, and I get both Kirillon and Millsoft from Dharma Trading Company, and the links for it are down below in the description box. And then I'll put it in the dryer, and we'll come back and we'll see the results. Well, here it is, guys. Here's our retro-inspired spiral after it's been washed and dried, and I think it turned out great. I love this shirt. I think I definitely achieved the goal of my grandmother's kitchen. How many of you grew up with kitchens that looked exactly like this, with the burnt orange and the dark red and dark wood and the avocado green? I don't know what they were thinking, but on this shirt, it looks great. So they must have known what they were doing. So overall, I'm really pleased with this shirt. I just don't really know what else to say other than I think it's beautiful. So what do you guys think? Please leave me some comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, leave a thumbs up, and click the bell and set it to all. That way you get notified of future uploads. And remember, have fun tie-dyeing.